The problem with the dark side is they lack philosophy besides the rule of two. They need Anakin's thesis. That is what they need, more than anything. They need the great philosophers of our time to go there and enlighten them. And maybe then they would stop being such apparent douche nozzles. And then we have Ahsoka Tano, who, quite seriously put, yeah, she could probably save the whole universe by herself. I'm just saying, I think this is the first time we've really seen Ahsoka Tano in here, so this is going to be kind of interesting to see how she reacts to all this. I got a feeling she's going to be losing her mind. In fact, I hope she's losing her mind. Warpugs, seals are good. The greatest source of Jedi philosophy, and also horrific war crimes that Anakin Skywalker has committed upon the universe in and of itself by using his thesis as a weapon. My Warpugs. My lovely, lovely Warpugs, please go check out Seals Are Good. She is an amazing, amazing creator for this kind of stuff. Perfect comedic timing, and you're about to find out why. If you've never seen Seals Are Good, you owe it to yourself to watch the whole series. Links are going to be in the description below. Please go check this out. It's imperative that you do so. It's not a request, it's a requirement. Let's go.
We have a new child soldier for the galactic conflict, and, as the will of the Force, this itself is perfectly moral. We're all in agreement.
How can the Force be perfectly moral when the dark side exists?
Or indeed, when there are libertarians.
What?
I said, given we know the Force to be perfectly good, and its will absolute righteousness, such a question is often raised by those who lack understanding of the finer points of Jedi theology.
Are you calling me stupid?
Ignorance isn't strictly indicative of stupidity. One should not mock others for not having the same knowledge they do. I'm sure Master Kenobi meant nothing by it.
No, I did. I'm calling her stupid.
Damn! Damn, Obi-Wan, can you not?
To answer your question, we can contact Master Yoda, using the cruiser which brought you here as a relay. Master Yoda has centuries of wisdom and would doubtless be thrilled to engage in some philosophical discourse.
No, he wouldn't.
What?
Master Yoda, we have a theological
He hung up, Master.
Nonsense. The call just dropped.
Yes.
The signal is rather shoddy out here. What you've raised is known by Jedi thinkers as the problem of the dark side, and is predominantly a problem of sapient or moral evil acting through the use of the Force.
Cool.
An example of what Master Kenobi is speaking of would be when Master Yoda decided to try combining so many uppers and downers that he felt normal. However, he messed up the dose. Long story short, he ended up holding Master Kit Fisto with a lightsaber to his throat and made us all listen to his pitch to revolutionize education, which involved projecting lessons onto the palms of younglings using modified DT-17 droids, with the lessons individualized based on their fingerprints.
That's insane.
I thought it...
Why does he keep on calling it fingies? It just doesn't make any sense.
fairly typical morning.
No, she's right, Anakin. Master Yoda is nothing less than a saint, in spite of his little, jokes, and I will hear nothing to the contrary.
Actually, the insane thing I meant was pitching such a brilliant idea so publicly, where anyone could
Oh, I already trademarked the idea. All right.
All rights reserved.
It's reserved. The fundamentals of why beings believe the existence of the dark side is a counter to the notion the Force is perfectly good stems from 4 basic propositions, which are held to be contradictory. Proposition 1. The Force is omnipotent.
Note that when we say omnipotent, we mean that the Force has maximal power as far as is possible. This does not mean the Force can transcend logic. For instance, the Force could not create an uninteresting thesis, nor could the Force make sand tolerable. Rather, the Force is maximally powerful, or as powerful as it is possible for something to be.
Anakin's examples are awful. And
Oh my god.
The kind of thing that led to his being legally banned from every classroom outside the Jedi Temple.
Legally,
Wow.
I can teach in the Outer Rim, but oddly, the only classrooms that will have me are those within Hutt torture chambers.
Yes, Jabba is a frequent procurer of Anakin's private tutoring services. Either way, there are those who argue the Force, while not omnipotent, is instead merely incredibly powerful.
Okay.
This does somewhat negate the problem of the dark side as a whole, as the Force not being omnipotent means it is not typically perceived as innately being capable of stopping the use of the dark side, whereas if it were omnipotent, it would be supposed to be. Regardless, Proposition 2 is that the Force is omniscient.
This view stems from the fact the Force can offer visions of the future.
Uh-huh.
It's a will for a specific outcome.
Okay.
I found these visions are best used for scholarly pursuits.
Yes, you really must stop citing works before they're written. You've created no small number of Bootstrap paradoses as beings just copy material you've quoted from them, which they will write and present it as their own original thought.
Uh-huh.
Paradoses isn't a real word.
It's like vortices.
The word paradox is derived from Greek, while vortex, and its plural, are derived from Latin. The differing origin of these words is such that...
Anakin, stop making up languages to try and prove your point. Paradoses is a far superior word because it sounds cooler.
Yes.
Basic is meant to be a simple and coherent language, yet the random and wholly arbitrary
Yes,
differences
fine. I
within
agree with
even
you.
different
You've won me
plurals
over.
for...
Please proceed.
Yes. Well, premise 3. The Force possesses a will which functionally serves to make it omnibenevolent.
Such as willing that Jedi share their theses with the galaxy, and even uploading them one day on the HoloNet for all to see and access.
Yay!
Though, of course, this would only be after they sign a waiver stating that the uploader is not legally responsible if the listener ends up braining themselves through repeated and forceful application of their head to their table.
Also, Windows. It goes without saying that anytime Anakin's thesis would go about, people would joyously jump out of windows.
Agan Cola made an almost full recovery, and he's not even pressing charges. You don't have to be so preemptively defensive.
He only listened to the introduction.
Finally, premise 4. The dark side exists. On their own, these premises are not inherently contradictory. For instance, the omnipotence of the Force does not decree that the dark side not exist. After all, one could readily hypothesize an instance through which the presence of the dark side can itself be said to be a good. In fact, we shall do so shortly.
According to legend, this isn't unlike what the Jedi of old believed. Indeed, the Order conceptualized that in the light there is a darkness, and in the darkness a light.
Makes
They
sense.
called the light Ashla and the dark Bogan.
Bogan.
And believed one had to remain balanced, favoring neither one or the other. To speak outside of legends, the Bendu, a being residing on the planet Atalan, will claim to represent the center of the Force.
Okay.
And likewise, will not present the dark side as inherently evil.
Okay.
With evil instead stemming from how it is used.
Will claim?
It hasn't happened yet. But if my Force vision is to be believed, it should happen sometime around 2BBY.
What's BBY?
What does BBY stand for?
That is, of course, unspeakable heresy, and
Brazilian butt yeet or what?
such a being should have their evil spirit cleansed in fire.
I think he just
to
regenerated.
leap back to the point, like the most graceful of fathiers.
So you can use them as an example.
Consider the interpretation favored by the Jedi thinker Nye Arius, who
Okay.
theorized the purpose of Force sensitivity was soul-making for rational moral agents.
Okay.
One could conceptualize it through picturing the galaxy as a classroom for the
Okay.
soul or spirit. We come into being, as is the will of the Force. However, this does not mean we are perfect, but rather that we are immature creatures capable of moral and spiritual growth, which
Okay.
requires our free actions. In the case of we Jedi, this requires physical, mental, and spiritual cultivation, because this is the best way for us to develop. Indeed, Master Qui-Gon theorized that one could attain such a level of harmony with the light side of the Force that you could maintain your individuality after you passed on.
For context,
Oh.
Master Qui-Gon was Obi-Wan's master, and therefore my Grand Master.
Yay!
Not to be confused with the Grand Master of the Jedi Order, who I think is Dooku at the moment.
He's not.
Anyway, you can tell the difference between Grand Master and Grand Master because of the capitalization.
I
Oh,
can't
of
see
course.
capitalization when we're talking.
This is true. This is absolutely true. Ahsoka Tano has a point.
Also, I'm pretty sure Dooku isn't the Grand Master of the Jedi Order.
Nor
Uh-huh.
Anakin. He's still recovering from Dooku hitting him with lightning.
Lightning fingies! How did lightning shoot from his fingies?
Doesn't Dooku run the Confederacy of Independent Systems?
I wouldn't know. I'm not brave enough for politics.
Aren't you a general in the war?
Right.
If only I were brave enough for politics, then perhaps I could find out.
And haven't you been involved in negotiating for the Republic?
Yes, but only in a non-political sense.
Uh-huh.
That
Returning to the point, did Master Qui-Gon talk much about his theory?
Actually, he never mentioned it. Mostly, he racially insulted everyone we met, challenged randoms to fights, and kept trying to procure narcotics from shady hoodlums. However, when I was examining his possessions following his death, I found the idea in his journals. They were oddly spiritual. You'd think he were a completely different man,
Uh-huh.
judging by what was written down.
Quite fascinating.
If you don't understand, Obi-Wan didn't understand what Qui-Gon was saying, and Qui-Gon was just trying to be chill with everybody, but Obi-Wan was trying to translate for him, and every single time he tried to translate for him, he basically said Qui-Gon said something that he didn't say.
Fascinating what you discover after someone dies. After my mother passed, Palpatine assured me that she actually corresponded with him a great deal.
Uh-huh.
And she was keen for me to study the Force in all its aspects.
Yes, very much
Not
so.
just the dogmatic, narrow view of the Jedi.
It's too bad I'm not brave enough for politics, because otherwise I might have something to say about that Palpatine character. Either way, to continue, it is how beings respond to the spirit-making process that develops their moral character. Following the will of the Force would mean adhering to the light. That is to say, using the Force for knowledge and defense, never for attack.
You use your
Okay.
lightsaber for attacking. Though I
Yes.
heard a legend that Master Windu will beat up an entire army of battle droids with his bare hands.
so he hasn't done it yet.
According
No.
to legend.
According to legend.
Wait, is it that the legend says he's going to do it? Or that what he's going to do will be a legend?
Ah.
I hope you're writing this down. It'll be on your Jedi Knight written exam.
There's a written
For
exam?
those within the Nai-Arayan school of thought, it is the temptation of the dark side, which is what Jedi are to struggle against. That is to say, the temptation to give into hatred or anger, manifesting in the unnatural abilities of the Force.
Such as shooting lightning from your fingies.
Yes.
Write that one down. It'll be on your Jedi Knight written exam.
The
Yes.
Force, in its infinite wisdom, permits the use of the so-called dark side, because it is the struggle against this evil which is what develops the spirit. Were the dark side to be inaccessible, then this spirit-making process would be fundamentally inhibited. This is perhaps best summed up by the Jedi thinker Jick Hone, who noted, "The kind of goodness which the Force desires in sapient beings could not in fact be created, except through a long process of creaturely experiences in response to the temptation and allure of the dark side."
But that doesn't make sense.
In what respect?
That argument makes out the dark side itself to be good. If it didn't exist, then souls couldn't be refined.
Quite.
Uh-huh.
As mentioned at the outset, the Force is inherently good, even
Inherently.
if, from our limited point of
From
view,
my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Anakin's quote himself.
ignore him. He does that sometimes. As I was saying, from our, certain point of view, we struggle to see this.
However, to further advance Ahsoka's point, one could consider the Lanai thinker Gen F. Jedis, who noted
What?
that only the sufferer can determine whether their suffering has been meaningful or not. If we use this lens to examine the dark side, can it not be said the temptation could well lead to fundamentally useless knowledge?
Huh.
Perhaps one could end up a metaphorical wound in the Force, having lost everyone they cared about and surviving as little more than a husk.
Okay,
Living
Anakin.
only to drain the life essences of beings, and even entire planets. How could such a being be said to have benefited from the temptation to indulge in the dark side?
Despite Anakin's indulging in such a nihilistic legend, a proponent of the school would argue that it is precisely such a scenario that exemplifies why we are better off following the will of the Force and remaining in the light, for succumbing to the dark side can only lead to ruin.
Not to be confused with a legend around a Sith Lord of the same name. That won't be on your Jedi Knight written exam, but you can still write it down if you want.
Yes.
What is life, if not for
This
learning?
is an objection some Jedi thinkers have themselves raised, which has led to other considerations.
Poor Ahsoka Tano. She just came in. She was just looking for the bathroom and wanted to order something from Wendy's, and they cornered her with this garbage.
A notable one would be the free will defense to the problem of the dark side. The Force is perfectly good, and thus would not have us as mindless agents blindly following its will as though we were but droids because it values freedom. This view would have it that beings who could use the Force would be able to use it for ill in the form of the so-called dark side.
Including
Dark
the
side.
deeply unnatural ability of lightning fingies.
Okay, it was pretty unusual as powers go, but we can run at super speed, see events before they happen, and move objects with our minds.
Right.
Is shooting lightning from your fingers really that unnatural?
Yes. Whatever.
I agree very strongly that freedom is the most important thing a being can have.
Yes, your hack philosopher has taught you well.
You don't even know by which philosopher's wisdom I live my life.
Ooh.
The
It's
Balasar Einar and Darno.
Darno. Lucky guess, statist.
You listen to a hack.
Ahsoka, you should know there will be weekly exams on the topics we discuss, and success in them can land you monetary bonuses of up to 30%.
Couldn't the
Sweet.
Force have influenced events such that beings who use the Force only make the correct decisions?
Indeed, this is an objection that has been raised, for example, by the droid thinker IEM4CK. However, in a counter to this notion, and I necessarily hasten my explanation a little, as I see the droids have begun mowing down our troops like so much grass, the Paladuvan thinker, Antinga, argued actions can only be free if no causal laws and antecedent conditions determine that they occur or do not occur. And indeed, when we take causal laws to refer to codifiable ways in which unfree parts of the galaxy behave out of necessity, and antecedent conditions to refer to the state of the galaxy prior to a being's choice, then this explanation...
They interrupted the philosophy
There
lesson.
goes a good chunk of our troops.
They will be
Shouldn't
missed.
we
Yes.
help?
Ah, but would we be able to? Or has the Force already predetermined what we shall do?
Please, please, for the love of the Force, someone kill me!
His helmet melted into his face.
Indeed, must have been a particularly nasty explosion.
However, it was the Jedi thinker Quinn Ice who found it unthinkable that any created event, including that which occurs when a being chooses, should come to pass without the Force making it to be. As he stated, I believe the Force is the cause of everything's action, inasmuch as it gives everything the power to act and preserves it in being, and applies it to action, and inasmuch by its power, every other power acts.
Okay.
Free will, therefore, is not threatened by the Force's causality, but rather we are free because of it.
Okay.
Therefore, if Master Yoda should hypothetically choose to inject himself with the drugs, which he will soon give up, this would be as the Force
Wills it.
He's
Yes.
not going to give them up.
If
No.
he were addicted, which he isn't, he would.
He recently topped the polls as most likely to wipe out the entire Senate following a bad day in Spice Users Month. And they had a section personally thanking him for revitalizing the trade of several particularly lethal concoctions.
Hypothetically, even if we were to be concerned about Master Yoda's supposed unsavory habits, I'd have nigh absolute confidence in Master Windu's ability to change him.
I'm less confident. After Master Windu gently suggested that Yoda maybe think about slightly cutting back on drugs for the afternoon just to see how you feel, Master Yoda used the Force to hurl him out of the window.
One day such an event will become legal precedent, so it's fine.
So it's fine. Yeah.
Viewed in this way, the free will defense is lacking. After all, it conceptualizes events as something the Force passively observes, rather than is facilitated through the Force.
This is so...
Put another way, it envisions the actions of beings as somehow extrinsic to the Force, yet the Force permeates all living things, and all is as the Force wills it. This seems inherently contradictory.
Now that is a very important question on your Jedi Knight written exam.
Yes.
Is the Jedi Knight written exam in any way official?
Well, for tutelage under me, it certainly
The
is.
Jedi Knight written exam is a time-honored tradition. I wrote one for myself when I was training under Master Qui-Gon and managed to get 98%.
Only
How do you write your own exam and only get 98%, my guy?
98%? Didn't you write it?
Yes, but the examiner was a very harsh marker.
Who marked it?
That was me. But the committee who maintained oversight over the markers were extremely strict.
Okay.
Yes, the committee was solely staffed by myself.
Another interesting alternative is that the dark side is, in fact, substanceless. This is a view espoused by August Patine. He argued that the dark side is a privation of the light. Quote the thinker Zohan Damsku, "Evil is nothing else than absence of goodness, just as darkness also is absence of light. For goodness is the light of the mind, and similarly, evil is the darkness of the mind."
But if it's nothing, how are the Sith able to wield the dark side?
Well, it's nothing, and thus there's nothing about it that prevents the Sith wielding the dark side.
Indeed, there's nothing inherent to the dark side preventing Sith Lords shooting lightning from their fingies.
Look, there are counseling sessions you can attend.
But
Yes.
there's also nothing that allows it.
But likewise, there's nothing that stops it being allowed.
I'm
Right.
not
What?
sure I understand.
And
I
yet,
don't either.
it shall be a significant portion of your Jedi Knight written exam.
The final consideration is, of course, that of the process view of the Force. In this view, famously espoused by Al-Nowiad and developed by Hashorn, the Force depends upon the personal experiences of beings to create the concrete side of its nature. In this view, the Force is something of a lure, persuading beings to cooperate with its good designs, with the outcome depending on the extent to which beings comply with the will of the Force.
Okay.
The dark side, therefore, is not sent or determined by the will of the Force, but arises from the free choices of beings.
You've presented several frameworks for understanding the dark side, but which do you believe?
All of them, simultaneously.
But they contradict.
And that belief is what separates a Padawan from a master.
Hold on. Oh my god. War Pugs. This is what I was talking about with Seals Are Good. It is unbelievably good stuff. It is unbelievably. She is amazing at this. The comedic timing, the comedic pauses. Who would have thought that I'd be sitting around listening to Jedi philosophy laughing like I was about to have a stroke? I mean, just the sheer honesty of the statement. Who thought I would be doing that? This stuff is absolutely amazing. And I cannot tell you guys enough, if you have not subscribed to Seals Are Good yet, you need to. You absolutely 100% need to. Warpugs, thank you guys so much for joining me. This kind of stuff right here is... I would have never found this channel without you guys. I would have never sat there and seen this, and it has brought me endless entertainment. And I'm glad that if you've never seen Seals Are Good before, now you are seeing it for the first time yourself. Warpugs, all links for Seals are going to be in the description below. Join me on Patreon or as a member for early access. I will catch you guys next time, and I hope you all have a great day, okay?